So I'm here in London for the inaugural Chris Ducker Youpreneur Summit, joining 8 other online entrepreneurs from right across the world, including John Lee Dumas, Amy Shoemaker, and keynote speaker Pat Flynn. Now, I've been following these guys for years, online of course, but now I get a chance to see them right here in London in the Queen Elizabeth Convention Centre. It's 2 days, masterminds, roundtables, practical workshops, keynote speeches, and Chris promises absolutely no selling, only equipping us as online entrepreneurs with the skills that we need to create a passive income and scale, in my case, my offline business. So join me and let's see what happens. Landino, did I say that right?
You did!
I finally found Katja. I found her online ages ago, but I finally found her in real life. She's amazing. If you don't follow her, you got it.
You are amazing.
We're amazing!
JSB! JSB!
Day 2 of the Youpreneur Summit here in London. Lots of takeaways yesterday, and I'm going to write an epic blog post as well. So watch out for that. So looking forward to it. I've just finished up at the inaugural Youpreneur Summit here in London. I know it might sound like a bit cheesy or a bit of a cliche, but it was totally an awesome 2 days, and I filled my ideas catcher notebook completely full with some amazing ideas. Clarity and thinking time out of your business is really important, and you know, we're always evolving. Some people say to me, God, JSB, you know, you have it sussed. You know exactly what you're doing. You're so consistent with your content. You're the digital content queen. But you know what? We're always evolving, and we should be always evolving. Nobody has it sussed. But if you're standing still, you're going backwards. So I'm going to share with you my biggest takeaways from the last 2 days. So I'm going to share with you my top takeaways from the event, and if you love my takeaways, then you definitely got a book for 2018. First up on stage was the totally amazing John Lee Dumas. 55 million downloads of his podcast, 1,800 episodes. He is the original, if there is an original podcaster. He told us to add value first before we sell. Don't become a person of success, become a person of value. Create content that your community needs, then you can sell to them. Mark Asquith shared with us the principle of treating your website like a startup. He says that every website tweak, upgrade, or overhaul needs to be a minimal viable product. Ask your customers what they want, get them to test it, and go on from there. With the next tip is Chris Ducker himself, and he taught us about the self-awareness test. Write a list, get a page, split it in half. On the left-hand side, write down what you excel at. Do more of that stuff. What you're not so good at, to the right-hand side, outsource it or delegate it. The next tip comes from duct tape marketing man, John Jatz. So one of his greatest takeaways is speak to your clients to find out exactly what their problems are. If you're not speaking to your customers at least once a month to see what their pain points are so that you can provide a solution, then you're missing a trick. The next tip comes from the inspiring Carrie Green, and might sound like a cliche, but the girl was awesome on stage, and I've seen her online, but actually to be there in the room with her, she's got a massive presence. And she said that we need to condition ourselves for success, and this is something that I personally struggle with. And she said that you need to train your brain for success with visualization. And she told us the most wonderful story of her being up for an entrepreneur award with 26 others, and she visualized being on the stage, accepting the award and getting her prize. It did happen. Her visualization came true, and her other little nugget of advice is see yourself there and you will get there. The next tip comes from Mark Morrison, not the singer from the 90s, but he talked about recurring monthly revenue. We all want one of those, right? We all want that passive income, but don't be mistaken, it certainly takes work. And his little takeaway for me was, you need to establish in the first instance what is a need that's going to be recurring, and then you got to solve it. The next tip comes from Russell James, who told a very personal story on stage, and he shared with us what you need to do when you really want to give up. Those days that you want to press pause on your life, as if you had a TV remote and you want to put the quilt cover over your head and just avoid the day. So he said that we must become craftspeople of our business. Do things, write content that we absolutely love, and this will transfer onto our community and they will love us for it. The next tip comes from the wonderful Pat Flynn, a really good friend of Chris Ducker, and both of these guys are responsible for JSB Talks Digital. I heard them speak in March 2016 at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego, and it was the impetus that I needed to start my podcast. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to see Pat at Youpreneur Summit because I've got a plane to catch to Dublin. However, during our conversation, and you can see our photo because I had a chat with him yesterday, he said that, you know what, taking action is both the hardest and the simplest thing. But when you take that action and deliver on what you want to deliver for your community, it will pay off. And trust me, JSB Talks Digital has paid off in bucket loads for my business. Next tip from Chris Ducker. We all have to be somebody's favorite, and he doesn't mean your husband, your wife, your children, or your dog. He's talking about the people in our online community who come to us because they love what we produce or what we say. We all have to be somebody's favorite. So you have to discover what makes you you, what makes you unique, and in doing this, you create your unique Youpreneur brand statement. Authors, you gotta listen up. The next tip is from the amazing Joanna Penn. I particularly loved her session. She talks about repurposing your hard copy book, and I have one of those and I need to do it, into multiple formats: an audiobook, an ebook, a Kindle book. She also gave us a great tip on being found on the search engine that is Amazon, the biggest retailer in the whole wide world. Choose your category well, but did you know you can also choose up to 10 subcategories by emailing Amazon? And if you check out the blog post at the link below, I have that email address. The next tip comes from the wonderful Amy Schumacher-Landino, who I have on the podcast JSB Talks Digital. So if you want all of her amazing tips, make sure you subscribe to JSB Talks Digital on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or of course you can find it at digitaltraining.ie. If you want to uplift and elevate your YouTube and your video content, Amy talks about the 3 types of H: hero, hub, and wait a minute, I'll get the third. Health. It was health. The next tip comes from Colin Gray, also known as the podcast host, who's also been featured on JSB Talks Digital. He talks about how you can achieve goals by planning, and he introduced us to a concept that I hadn't heard of before. It's called the board pack. Now, Most of you, like me, don't have a board of directors, so you don't have to report to them every month. However, the board pack suggests that you do. So you write down your financials, you write down what you achieved this month, what you're planning for the next month, and you also keep your journal entries every week as if you were reporting to the board. This will help you get shit done. The next tip is a sales one from Matt Kimberly, a talk I particularly enjoyed. He kind of pulled at our heartstrings at the beginning. He shared with us the 15 principles of sales where you're not being sleazy. And just one of those principles that I'm going to share with you is that you've got to plug into your prospect. You've got to have a personal connection with them. If you want the other 14, you've got to read my epic blog post at digitaltraining.ie. I give the final words of this vlog to Chris Ducker, the organizer and host of Youpreneur Summit 2017. Chris, thank you so much for hosting the event. I really enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next year in London, if not before that. But the final words go to you, and that is to all of us, I guess, as entrepreneurs. The world needs you, the world needs me, and I am here, and JSB is here for you, and this is exactly why I'm doing this vlog in the cold in London with my coat off, and I hope I don't miss my plane.
JSB Talks Digital.
Give me a like, subscribe, and get JSB Talks Digital, the vlog, every Monday morning in your inbox. And please do share with your friends. They'd really appreciate it.